Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together, we have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, JoAnn Crone. Hello to all my Lolas out there. We are tackling a topic today that I struggle with, that I know that you probably struggle with. It's caring what other people think. Like, you know, you shouldn't care as much what other people think as you probably do. You probably even tell your kids that. And yet you rearrange your whole behavior anyway. You say yes when you mean no. You dress differently for different audiences. You replay a comment somebody made 3 days ago, wondering what they meant by it. You hold back your real opinion. Do you ever do this? I do it. I can totally disagree with somebody, and yet I'll just be nodding along because I don't want to mess up the group. But external validation isn't a character flaw. There's nothing wrong with you. It is just a pattern that you are in. And the problem isn't that you want to be liked. It's that you've been outsourcing your sense of worth to something that you cannot control. And today we are going to talk about external validation and how you got that way. And also 3 questions to ask yourself if someone's feedback is something that you actually want to reconsider. Our guest is Jess Ekstrom. And guys, we start the episode with Jess talking about her great uncle, Bernie Madoff, and how she interviewed him in prison and what she learned about how what he did tied to this need for external validation. It is going to be a good one today. And let me introduce Jess. She's an entrepreneur, a speaker, and a mom of 2 who believes ambition and real life can coexist. She's the founder of Mic Drop Workshop, where she helps women step into their voice and become confident, powerful speakers. Her book, Making It Without Losing It, is out now, and one of its most powerful chapters is the one we're building today's whole conversation around. The idea that external validation is a terrible roommate. It moves in, takes up space, never pays rent, and somehow still has opinions about everything you do. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get on with the show. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast, Jess. I'm so excited to have you here, especially talking about external validation, which I have to say, like, honest confession, this was my topic in therapy last week.
Was it?
It was.
Was there like a particular, not that you have to air your therapy out here, but like, was there something specific that you were kind of trying to get validation on?
Yeah. So I'm a checker of analytics and I'm almost checking to make sure that I feel worthy or that I belong. And in terms of like this podcast analytics, I was checking like 6-8 times a day to like make sure the episode number kept going up and the downloads kept going up. And that's the specific goal I'm working on. But I mean, I have a wide range of external validation stuff, as do you from your book. So I'm so excited to chat about it.
Me too. But okay, question on that. So when you're looking at like you're checking the analytics, seeing if it's going up, all the numbers, how does that change how you go about your podcast? Do you feel more creative, less creative? Tell me. Yeah.
So no, I feel less creative, of course, because it's like an up and down kind of thing. If it's going up, I'm like, yay, dopamine hit. I'm doing well. And if it's not going up as far, like as I expected, I'm like all down in the dumps. My motivation to do stuff is non-existent and I wanted to stop it. And so far this week, I got to check them today. This was the deal I made with my therapist. I could check it on Monday and then I have to let it go the rest of the week. So I did good. And honestly, it's less stressful.
I'm so glad that, one, you even noticed that that was something that was bugging you, because a lot of us are like, I just need to check it. This is my business. This is what I do. And we create this story that makes us feel like we have to constantly be checking our progress and checking our improvement. I even hesitate sometimes, being like a self-help author, with making it without losing it. I'm like, I also don't want people to feel that they need help. And so sometimes I feel like a little counterintuitive. I'm like, this is what did someone called it the other day? Your book is like ambition and chill. Can you be ambitious as a podcaster, but also be chill and just kind of enjoy the ride? Can those two things exist at once? And so that was really my exploration for this book. And it sounds like you're on the same journey. So I'm so glad we're talking.
Yeah, I totally am. And I think that we should rebrand the self-help genre. We could
Yes.
term it self-growth. And I think
Yeah,
that is a better explanation of what we do. Because
totally.
I'm also could be considered in that. And again, it's like self-help gets such the bad rap.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just running experiments on yourself and being almost separating. I think the biggest thing you can do is separate your worth from your output. Like your podcast downloads are not making you a better or worse person. Like you are still JoAnn at the end of this. My book sales, the sun will rise tomorrow if I don't hit the New York Times, and my self-worth will be there. And so I think when I started to be able to separate myself from my output, whether it's like books, speaking, things like that, it almost made my output better because I was more curious about solving problems than feeling attached to them. If my numbers were down, then I'd be like, I wonder what's up. Is it a packaging issue? Is it a content issue? Are our emails not going through? Sometimes it can be as simple as that. And instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. I'm irrelevant. No one likes me anymore. I mean, it's just when your worth is connected to your output, it is absolutely exhausting. And
it's awful.
it is just the thief of our creativity, like you said.
Absolutely. And there are so many women out there who do connect their worth to their output. There's tons of women in the No Guilt Mom audience who, when I've talked to them, they have a hard time even resting because they're not productive when they're resting. And they have this internal monologue that I need to be productive all the time. I need to produce all the time. And I love how in your book that you got into external validation and chasing external validation. And you have a very interesting background in interviewing your great uncle, who is Bernie Madoff, in
Yes.
that external validation kind of push. Tell us about that and what you learned.
I mean, every time I feel like I tell this story, I feel like I'm telling it about someone else because even though it's been, I don't know, almost 20 years, it still doesn't feel real to me. But yeah, I came home from school one day in high school and just felt like something was off with my parents and they weren't ready to talk about it yet. They also told me not to watch the news, which of course, then I'm going to go find a TV that they can't hear and turn on the news. And that was when I saw Bernie on every channel. And at that moment, I knew two things were true. One, I'm pretty sure my family just probably lost every cent that they've saved. And two, Bernie, I knew that because Bernie was it's my mom's uncle. So it was like this just insane outer body experience and just watching my family and thousands of innocent victims that he stole from just try to make sense and start over. And then, when I think I was young enough to still be naive and not have it totally wreck me. And so when I found out that he was being sentenced to 150 years in Butner, North Carolina, which is around 45 minutes from where I live, I decided I was going to go visit him. And not because I forgave him, but because if I'm being honest, I thought that there was maybe going to be a story or a secret or something that would help give my family closure in some way. And it didn't feel like it at the time, but I did hear a story from him that really just kind of reshaped everything that I have done since. He told me that this crime didn't start when he made his first bad investment. He told me it started when he was a kid in Brooklyn. None of the other kids would play with him. And so he started paying kids on the street to play with him in nickels. And he goes, that's when I learned that admiration can be bought. And then it was just like watching this man in this khaki prison uniform just see from that like one seated moment that he learned that people can be bought, that perception was more important to him than reality, and what that led to. I'm not going to say it was like an instant that changed everything. It was just always like the shadow of my choices. Am I paying people in nickels? Am I making choices that are more around perception than reality? And so that was really the start of it. And it's an extreme case, but I think that we can all relate to the feeling of just wanting to belong and doing whatever it takes to do that.
Growing up, nobody in my house ever talked about money. I'd go to the bank with my dad, but when it came to my own spending, I never had a number, no budget, like no boundaries of any kind, just guessing. And honestly, money has scared me ever since, and it still makes me a little bit anxious sometimes. That's exactly why I started using Monarch. For the first time, I could actually see everything in one place. And I found out almost 15% of our income quietly going to stuff like I couldn't even name, nor could I remember what was purchased. Now I know where every dollar goes, and that anxious feeling has finally started to ease up. My favorite part is the AI weekly recap. It's like having a little financial advisor in your pocket, minus the judgment for my last Target run. Write your own money story with Monarch. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. Hey, I wanted to share a new children's album with you. You have to check out Magnificent by Lotchi. In case you're not in the know, Lotchi is a Grammy-nominated musician and author whose work focuses on inclusion and helping kids feel confident in who they are. It's one of those albums that feels as good for parents as it does for little ones. Magnificent is full of playful, feel-good songs that celebrate self-expression, imagination, and those everyday moments you'll recognize as a parent. It's the kind of music you can put on during the morning routine, in the car, or when your child needs a bit of calm. There's a really gentle message running through the album around confidence and emotional well-being without ever feeling heavy or lesson-led. Just catchy, thoughtful songs that kids can connect with and that you won't mind hearing on repeat. Magnificent is streaming now on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen. If you want to check it out, just hit the link in this episode's description and it'll take you straight there. If I got a notification every time my kids spent money, mine would just be daily fried chicken order confirmed from a different place every single time. Funny aside, that's exactly why I like Cash App's managed accounts for kids ages 6 to 12. No hidden fees, no minimum balance. And here's the part that gets me. Their savings habits and money history carry forward from a parent managed account at 6 to a teen account at 13 to a full account at 18. No switching apps, no starting over. If you're ready to start teaching money habits without adding more stress to your plate, download Cash App and set up a managed account for your child today. For a limited time, new Cash App customers who are parents can use our exclusive referral code FAMILY10 to earn $10. Download Cash App, enter the referral code in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll receive $10. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Cash App Visa debit flex cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC, and the Bancorp Bank NA pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc. See terms and conditions for the Sutton prepaid card, Sutton debit flex card, and Bancorp debit flex card. Savings and offers provided by Cash App, a Blanc brand. Parents and legal guardians can open a managed account for kids 6 to 12. Visit cash-app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. Yeah, I mean, what you say there is really like powerful because you asked like, am I paying for like perception? Am I doing things just for the perception of things?
Mm-hmm.
Before we started this interview today, I was telling you the story of a client I had where we were talking about, letting things go in the household. And her main fear about letting go of like doing everyone's laundry is that other people outside were going to judge her. If her family had like a wrinkled shirt on, it would reflect on her. And it's a really hard thing to first realize that we're doing it for other people. But I think the harder thing is realizing other people's perceptions don't matter. Like that is the harder a conclusion to come to. Did you ever struggle with coming to that conclusion that other people's perceptions didn't matter? Or like, how do you like reckon with that?
I think that it was never a point where I felt like their perception doesn't matter. It was more around the ratio that I'm giving to their opinions versus mine. How much am I letting what people think guide me? But I think the bigger realization for me was that people didn't have the perceptions that I thought they would. And why? Because they weren't thinking about me. So it was less around other people's perceptions don't matter and more around people are not paying attention to what I'm doing. They're not waking up every day and saying, I wonder what Jess is going to do today. I wonder what she's going to post. Oh my gosh, that was so cringe, this, that. They truly weren't thinking about me. And I think that can be disappointing to some people, but to me it was kind of like chapter 2. Chapter 1 was, oh my gosh, what will everyone think? Chapter 2 was realizing they don't think. Everyone's in their own world with their own stuff. And so I think that was like actually more so like freeing than not realizing that they didn't matter. But I was like, oh, they're just really in their own world. So I have more permission to try more things, be more creative. You know, I remember when I sold my first company, Had Bands of Hope, thinking like, I hired a coach. I hired all these people to tell me, how do I talk about this publicly? How do I make this next evolution? Thinking that there would just be this swarm of like microphones when I walk outside my front door. And to me, that's just an extremely freeing revelation. That's like, everyone's got their own stuff. You can focus on yours. Yeah.
They do have their own stuff. And yet we're like so used to thinking that everyone is focused on us. Like I'm raising a teenager right now. My daughter's 17. She's about to start college in August. And I see this thinking in her about, you know, everyone is going to judge me. I need to put out the best perception possible. She is very talented at her social media. She tries to make it very aesthetic, as she says. And it seems like it's like a cage that you're in when you look to everyone else's approval. It's almost like I put stuff out there all the time and you get the hecklers and you get the bad comments. I mean, you were talking about some of the comments that you get on like your mic drop workshop ads and what people say. Do you remember any of those off the top of your head?
I mean, apparently I need to, like, I've never tweezed my eyebrows before, but according to some men on the internet, I need to. I mean, granted, some of those comments were valid. I look back on some of my earlier videos at Mic Drop. I'm like, girl, like, lay off the makeup. We didn't need that much. But I think that, you know, there are going to be people out there. Like, the more you put out, the more you're kind of increasing your frequency, if you will, of just like the collision points, the good and the bad. And so the bigger my platform gets, and I'm not like some, you know, mega influencer by any means, but I just notice like the bigger it gets, the more good and the more bad. And so I think that we have to take the good with the bad, be okay with the trade. The more visible we become, the more that there's going to be people that are like, hey, I disagree. Sure. But I think that it will always like feel, oh, I don't really love that. But I think the life cycle of those feelings and attaching to the negative has become shorter. I'm never going to be like not hurt by something. But I think that the lifespan that I give it has become shorter, if that makes sense.
No, I feel the same way too. I used to be devastated when I got one of those. And now I'm like, oh, somebody's having a bad day. I mean,
yeah. And someone's listening. I mean, I posted a clip recently of like a graduation speech. So you talking about your daughter too was making me think of that. But the clip of the speech was basically me saying, because I gave a commencement, that really just, you can worry about a lot of things, but the number one thing to focus on is just be a good person. Like everything's going to be fine if you just be a good person. And you would be amazed at the controversy of that statement. And the irony is that that's like people are purposefully doing this, of like saying things in certain ways so that it sparks conversation. I feel like nuance doesn't win on the internet, unfortunately.
No,
like being able to say, yeah, and everything is nuanced. And so sometimes you feel like you have to have this utmost certainty around something or use this like always, never, black or white thinking, which isn't really serving anyone, but in order to get the attention or the conversation or the virality of it.
You have to do it that way. Yeah. Well, as Taylor Swift says, if you say it on the street, it's a knockout. If you say it in a tweet, it's a cop out. So, I mean,
I love that.
Other people like
fellow Swifties unite.
Yes. Other people like feel so free to say stuff on the internet that they wouldn't say stuff to your face.
Never.
So like there's always that. And I know like so many people in our audience too, they are running their own businesses and are afraid of being visible because of what those commenters say. And I got to tell you here from the other side, and Jess, you too, like you see it and you're like, ah!
Yeah.
As you say in your book, they're all people who are doing it from the cheap seats. Mm-hmm. They aren't doing what we're doing. They aren't there with you. They're the people who just feel free to judge. And before we get into that, like you have some questions people can go through about like, is this something that I care about? Is this a comment that's good? I want to talk about your spotlight versus lighthouse framework. You gave a TEDx talk about those two types of people. Can you describe those for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a framework I came up with for my company, Mic Drop Workshop, where we help women, land paid keynote spots. And I've coached thousands of women on speaking since 2018. And so when it was time to give a TED talk about it, I was like, well, what's the thing that I feel like is the biggest shift for people as a speaker? And I summarize it in that there's two types of speakers. There's a spotlight speaker and there's a lighthouse speaker. A spotlight speaker goes up on stage and scans for approval. The light is shining on them. They're like, what does everyone think? How do I look? How do I sound? Does everyone like me? What, that person's on their phone. What are they doing? Am I doing a good job? Spotlights are concerned with perception. So if a spotlight asks, what does everyone think of me? Then a lighthouse asks, what does everyone need of me? So a lighthouse speaker shifts the light from themselves to their audience, and they say, where are they at? Where do they want to go? How can I help? And the thing is that like spotlights, it fades quickly. And it is just like a spark, a rush. And you're honestly, I think we were like trained from like spelling bees as a kid that we had to be perfect. Where the reality is that most people connect to speakers that are helpful, meet them where they are, maybe share some of the things that didn't work for them that they can learn from. They're not concerned with looking perfect. They're more concerned with guidance. And so I teach that in public speaking, but it can really be like parenting. It can be applied anywhere. Sometimes when I'm feeling like, again, the world is watching, I'm like, well, the spotlight's shining on Jess. It's the Jess Ekstrom show right now. How do I shift it from myself to the people I'm helping, whether that's the women at Mic Drop, whether that's my kids, my family, my team at Mic Drop. And it really is like I even just do before I go on stage, just like a visualization where I'm literally shifting the light from myself to the audience because it's so easy. We live in a world that makes us feel like the spotlight is on us. We're literally walking around what feels like numbers above our heads of how well or not well we belong. So of course we're going to live in that default. So we have to consciously override it.
Especially when we're comparing ourselves to what we think is real life on like Instagram or TikTok and seeing like how we don't measure up. I love this analogy of the spotlight and lighthouse people. And then as soon as I say analogy, I'm like, is this a metaphor or an analogy? I get so in my head.
Either one. I don't even know.
Either one. It's like, do I use like or as? Am I doing like the checklist for my AP English Lit? I don't know. But this, like, I think about it as a mom too, because so much of our mom guilt we get because we're shining the spotlight on ourselves. We're like, oh my gosh, I didn't do this. Oh my gosh, I didn't do this. I let them down here. And it gets into the thinking that I'm an awful mom. I'm an awful parent. Whereas if you think of yourself more of a lighthouse and think of like looking to see how are your kids doing? How are they thriving? Are they really that horrible because you went and spent 2 hours by yourself and they were, or were they totally fine? Were they occupied?
Totally.
When they were watching their screens, were they like seriously brain damaged? No, they're fine. And shifting that look out to moms, I think that is incredibly helpful.
I have a 2 and a 3-year-old. So I'm at a different phase of parenting than you are right now. And I have found myself saving like TikTok video after Instagram video that's like, here are the 3 things to say when your child has a tantrum. And in the moment, like when Ellie's having a tantrum, being like, what was the thing that I was supposed to say, instead of taking it away from me of what I was supposed to say, and instead saying like, well, what does she need right now? She's mad that she can't go in the pool. Like, so how do I meet her where she is and say, yeah, I really want to go in the pool too, but we have to go to bed. Like, and so much of it is just like stopping ourselves from being our own main character and looking at the person in front of us, which sometimes is our kid.
Right. And it's like you never win, ever. Because I mean, I have a 13-year-old son too, and I could tell you something that happened last night. We were waiting for my husband to come home from grocery shopping, and I had prepared dinner, and we wanted to all eat together as a family. So my son was sitting there at the table, and he's like, oh my gosh, I am so hungry right now. And I automatically responded, oh, it's okay. Like, you'll be okay. And then I realized, no, we're supposed to validate emotions. We're supposed to do that. So
go back. Yeah.
Go back. So I switched and I'm like, yeah, I know you really want to eat the grilled cheese. It's hard. And he turns to me and he says, Mom, validating my emotions is not going to fix my problem. And I'm like, gosh, because I mean, I use this.
Oh my gosh. He knows the playbook now. That is hilarious.
Both of my kids know the playbook. And it's because, I mean, they follow me on Instagram. They watch all of my videos.
It is funny.
Now
I love that.
What do I do? What do I do?
They're going to be one step ahead from you. I use it on my husband too. I'm like, I know you really wanted to golf this weekend. I can see that must be really hard for you. He hasn't realized the playbook yet, so hopefully he doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, no, they both get it. I got in trouble with my daughter too because she's like, you treat me like a child. You say like it's totally normal for you to be mad at me. I don't want that, but I'm like, oh my gosh.
So we can't win is what I'm hearing. We can't win.
Yeah, we can't win at all. Growing up, nobody in my house ever talked about money. I'd go to the bank with my dad, but when it came to my own spending, I never had a number, no budget, like no boundaries of any kind, just guessing. And honestly, money has scared me ever since, and it still makes me a little bit anxious sometimes. That's exactly why I started using Monarch. For the first time, I could actually see everything in one place. And I found out almost 15% of our income quietly going to stuff like I couldn't even name, nor could I remember what was purchased. Now I know where every dollar goes, and that anxious feeling has finally started to ease up. My favorite part is the AI weekly recap. It's like having a little financial advisor in your pocket, minus the judgment for my last Target run. Write your own money story with Monarch. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. Hey, I wanted to share a new children's album with you. You have to check out Magnificent by Lotchi. In case you're not in the know, Lotchi is a Grammy-nominated musician and author whose work focuses on inclusion and helping kids feel confident in who they are. It's one of those albums that feels as good for parents as it does for little ones. Magnificent is full of playful, feel-good songs that celebrate self-expression, imagination, and those everyday moments you'll recognize as a parent. It's the kind of music you can put on during the morning routine, in the car, or when your child needs a bit of calm. There's a really gentle message running through the album around confidence and emotional well-being without ever feeling heavy or lesson-led. Just catchy, thoughtful songs that kids can connect with and that you won't mind hearing on repeat. Magnificent is streaming now on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen. If you want to check it out, just hit the link in this episode's description and it'll take you straight there. If I got a notification every time my kids spent money, mine would just be daily fried chicken order confirmed from a different place every single time. Funny aside, that's exactly why I like Cash App's managed accounts for kids ages 6 to 12. No hidden fees, no minimum balance. And here's the part that gets me. Their savings habits and money history carry forward from a parent managed account at 6 to a teen account at 13 to a full account at 18. No switching apps, no starting over. If you're ready to start teaching money habits without adding more stress to your plate, download Cash App and set up a managed account for your child today. For a limited time, new Cash App customers who are parents can use our exclusive referral code FAMILY10 to earn $10. Download Cash App, enter the referral code in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll receive $10. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Cash App Visa debit flex cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC, and the Bancorp Bank NA pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc. See terms and conditions for the Sutton prepaid card, Sutton debit flex card, and Bancorp debit flex card. Savings and offers provided by Cash App, a Blanc brand. Parents and legal guardians can open a managed account for kids 6 to 12. Visit cash-app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. It goes to show you that chasing that external validation, like we just never win. And the only way I got through last night, actually, because it was also pretty emotional with my daughter. We had some words to say to each other. The only way I got through it was I had to be the bigger person and I had to go apologize for some things I said. I would not have been able to do that if I was just basing it on external validation, if she was mad at me, if she was happy with me. I had to do it based on, okay, this is what I need to do to sustain our relationship. This is what I need to do to grow our relationship. And so with that, I was able to go upstairs. I was able to apologize. She apologized back and we're good now. But knowing that external validation sometimes prevents you from doing that, putting too much stock in other people's opinions, you have 3 questions for people to ask themselves when it comes to, should I take this? What are those 3 questions on feedback?
Oh my gosh. So as a public speaker, I feel like it's a part of my job to get feedback. And I could have 1,000 people, 1,000 people submit feedback. 998 of them are like, this is the best thing I ever heard. And 2 of them are like, she sucks. Wouldn't listen to her again. And of course, I make those 2 comments the biggest part of my mental brain energy. So when I started kind of spiraling around negative feedback, I created these, I call them the 3 C's. And so it's credibility, chorus, and constructive. So the first one, let's just start with chorus. What's the chorus? Meaning, is this something that just gets sung over and over again? You keep hearing the font on your PowerPoint is illegible. You hear that from one person, take note. You hear it from 20, change the font. Is the chorus something that you keep hearing? So second, is it constructive? Someone commenting on my eyebrows on a public speaking video is not making my public speaking any better. That is not constructive to me. But if they were like, hey, I could really use an analogy here, or can you show what this looks like in practice? That's constructive. That's making my content better. And then the third is the credibility. What's the credibility? Who's the source? Like we were saying in the beginning of this episode, sometimes the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. And so hearing the feedback, and advice, from people who aren't in the game or aren't doing it with me, I take that with a very, very small grain of salt. Very small grain of salt, because I'm like, man, you don't know what it's like to stand up on stage in front of, 3,000 people or do a podcast or something like that. Doesn't mean that I don't take it, but it has to also check those other 2 boxes. It has to have a chorus and it has to be credible. So credibility, chorus, and constructive.
Yeah. And that chorus too, it's good to know that most of the feedback is not no one gives their feedback. So a lot of people are like, yeah, it's good. And you'll never hear from them. You really only hear from the ones you track down or the ones who are very, very unsatisfied with things.
And recognizing that people are way more likely to tell you what's wrong than what's right. And so,
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, if you get one person who says, your podcast changed my life, I love it, there are probably 1,000 more of those that just didn't write in, that just didn't take the time to DM you or tell you. So really try to amplify and multiply the good, because for every great DM, there's 1,000 that just were thought but not sent.
This goes for kids as well, especially when they become teens. They are more likely to tell you what's wrong than what's right. And so you get into this pattern where you hear everything that you're doing wrong And if you don't realize that this is a developmental stage, like their brains are primed to notice the negative, and that's what they latch onto, like all humans. But like adults, they don't have the prefrontal cortex strength going on to actually like filter out everything. So it becomes really exhausting and kind of deflating to be a parent of a teenager, not when that's going on. And even like little kids, they do the "I hate you"
Oh my
so
gosh.
loud.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter is quick to tell me what she needs.
Yeah.
But no, it's so true. I mean, like I used to think that my career, I remember this like one particular story was speaking. I was just getting started speaking. I thought this was going to be, I really wanted to grow in my speaking career. I was very early on. And I was speaking at this event, and this other big time speaker was there. And he, at the end, told me, he's like, I'm going to get your information. You're coming on tour with me. You're going to be on every stage I'm going to be on. I'm going to make you a world-class speaker, just like everything you could want to hear.
Yeah.
And I thought that I had just made it. Like I got the lottery ticket, I won. And then I never heard from him again. Never called. And this is when I was like, so early in my career that I thought everyone who said they were going to do something would just do it, and learned obviously that that's not the case all the time. But I thought for so long that something like that was going to be the reason for my success. Like someone was going to pick me. Someone was going to share what I was doing, and that was going to be it. Someone was going to endorse me. Someone was going to select me. And so I spent like 10 years of my career waiting for like the moment for someone else to kind of be the orchestrator of my career. And then it wasn't until I realized he was never going to call and I had a choice to make. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait for this guy to call me, or am I going to figure out another way? And that was when I just started teaming up with other women, teaching what I know, learning from them, referring each other to stages, watching each other's film. And then that's what eventually became what is now Mic Drop Workshop. And then about 10 years after that event, I was on stage with him again at it, like coincidentally at another event. And I realized like I was standing in the position that I thought only he could get me to. And I didn't get there from being selected by him. I got there from doing my own reps, my own consistency, but teaming up with other women. And some of the just like lessons that I learned from that, one is just like putting your stakes in someone else's hands doesn't work. And two, like the true success starts when you stop like looking for the hand and start offering one. That's what really clicked for me, was like, I'm looking for the hand above to like pluck me like a teddy bear in an arcade machine, when really I should be looking around. And that's kind of become the whole thing of what I do now, is like more, 360 rather than just looking up, which is so easy to do.
I love that shift in mindset, because when you said that, I told it to myself and I just got this feeling of calm. That is something that I have control of and I don't have to wait. And the whole image of being plucked like out of the vending machine like a teddy bear, you're totally right. That's how a lot of us feel we need to do. So much so that earlier in my career, I was so scared to do something risky or so scared to say no to someone because I was afraid I would burn that bridge of the person who would lift me up and take me out of things. And when you realize that that's not happening, you change how you do things.
Yes, totally. You totally change how you do things. In fact, for Making It Without Losing It, this most recent book, I published my book before this, Chasing the Bright Side with HarperCollins, which was, cool to do a traditional publishing experience. But I couldn't shake the feeling of every stage of the traditional publishing process was waiting to be selected and being told by someone else how good or not good I was, my ideas, my platform, my business. And so for this book, I'm like, I could have gone back and gotten a traditional publishing deal, like they offered me one. But I was like, if I'm trying to get rid of this, not just a feeling, but the process of like waiting for someone to pick me, then that's not what I want to teach. And so we created a called Mic Drop Books. It's an imprint. And that way, like women who go through Mic Drop Workshop that also want to speak and write books can do it and don't have to wait to be selected. And I think that is like we give social media and everything kind of a lot of hate. And I do agree that there is some toxicity to it. But I think the one thing that it does is it has removed the middleman. Like you create your own platform. There's no longer a bunch of need for like representation and an agent.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm going live and I'll build it myself, which I think is really cool.
It is really cool. I wanted to be an actor when I was younger, and I still dabble, but that was the whole thing. You had to go, you had to audition, you had to get someone else's approval to get put into a show. And in the social media world, you just don't have to do that. Sometimes you do have to go out and prove that you're like have an audience, which could be a hard thing in itself. But yeah, I love that there's no more of that relying on just one person.
Yeah.
It's freeing, really.
It can be. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So tell us all about your book, Jess. Where can people get it?
So you can get it anywhere books are sold. I love local bookstores. So before you go to Amazon or wherever, maybe try calling your local bookstore and see if they have it or they can order it for you. Making It Without Losing It. I also send out a like hype motivational text every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to join me in that, you can text me the word hype to 704-228-9495. And I also read all of that and I can respond. So I would love to hear from you.
Awesome. And I will put the number in the show notes as well. Jess, thank you so much for sharing your journey with getting over external validation, or getting at least making it mean less.
Less ratio. Yeah. And thank you
a little. Yeah.
For all that you do for moms too, as a not young person, but a young new mom. That is your kind of platform and messages is like a lifeline. So thanks.
Oh, well, thank you. So for all of you out there, hey, if you're listening on Spotify, can you give the show a quick follow? That is where you'll get updates. Make sure you get the next episode. And remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you. Talk with you later. If you'd like to support the show further, you can share episodes with your loved ones, leave a positive review, or follow us on social media at No Guilt Mom. You could also show your love by visiting our amazing podcast sponsors. We have a link in the show notes.
Hello.
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together. We have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.